All right, all day fam was good. We live, back in the business. I'm just keeping my commitment with y'all. I'm gonna do this thing, man. Come on here every night. I don't know how long I'll be on here. I got a lot of stuff I got going on in my personal life. In school, working to be a chiropractor. I'm a chiropractor assistant right now, and studying neuromuscular therapy. I'm doing a lot of stuff. I'm in the med field and everything. So like I'm kind of like integrating a lot of the stuff that I'm doing, being a writer, artist, actor, and everything, and building this YouTube channel up with football because football is still one of my first loves. So hey man, I'm just following my heart, following my interests, and not finding any excuses. I'm a polymath, so I like to do this stuff. And as far as I'm concerned, as long as I'm consistent, as long as I have the vision and know what I'm doing, know why I'm doing what I'm doing. You know, doesn't matter how many interests you have. You just gotta know why you're doing it and figure out a way how you can integrate all of them. So this is where I'm at. This is who I am and this is what I'm doing and I'm telling myself I'm gonna make a commitment of doing this every night. I am going to do it. I am going to push to do that. I'm going to force myself and let's see what can happen out of that, out of this channel, off of this brand. So, I don't really have the music and the thumbnails and all that, but right now I'm just focusing on, just freaking just staying committed, being on this channel every night, just talking football. Don't got to be on here too long. And if I do, I do. I'm not going to put like a set timer on it or whatever, but I especially, I had a little juice. I got some momentum, going and some motivation to come on tonight though. Definitely to talk about and speak my mind of what happened with the Chargers. Like about maybe 2 hours ago, I got the news and I was in class. I think you all know. The whole football world knows. If you're not a football fan, then you probably won't know. But if you're a football fan, you already know what's happening right now. The biggest news in all of NFL: Mike McDaniel signs with the Los Angeles Chargers. That's the biggest news for the LA fans, for the Charger fans, since we signed Jim Harbaugh. I mean, this is a match made in heaven for Justin Herbert and Mike McDaniel. And it's great that Justin Herbert never won a football playoff game because if he never would have won a playoff game, we never would have got Mike McDaniel. I mean, if he would have won a playoff game, we would have gotten Mike McDaniel. And I know that everybody, even Chargers fans, everybody is knocking Justin Herbert, criticizing Justin Herbert, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I think it's wrong in my opinion. I really do because I've seen every single game of Justin Herbert play, and don't get me wrong, I've seen bad games for Justin Herbert, but I've seen the it's just been real unfortunate enough that Justin Herbert's worst games has been in the playoffs, and his worst games has been the last two playoff games that he played. He didn't play all that bad in the Jacksonville game. Everybody who lives to hate on Justin Herbert, they like bringing up Jacksonville, saying, you know, idiots like Emmanuel Acho and idiots like Nick Wright, and I'm trying to think of other idiots who likes to criticize him and say that, oh, he gave up 28 points to the Jacksonville Jaguars in the playoff game. How does a quarterback give up points how does a quarterback give up points to another team? It makes absolutely no sense. No sense at all. It's just dumb to say that, and it kind of irritates me. Like I'm not the one to get upset if you're going to criticize a player. You're going to hold a player accountable. But the thing about it is, be real and have your takes be honest. Like, don't come off as a hater, because that's how I feel when I hear dummies like Nick Wright and Emmanuel Acho. And I'm saying Emmanuel Acho as a dummy because I thought he came to his senses. See, this is how I know Emmanuel Acho is an idiot, because at first he was really heavily criticizing Justin Herbert, and then Justin Herbert was playing very, very well this season. Justin Herbert played very, very well this season. He loses a playoff game, and I can't say he played bad. I mean, it was obvious why Justin Herbert wasn't able to do what he was doing. The play calling was trash. But I didn't hear Emmanuel Acho say anything about that. He just it's like he was just waiting to see Justin Herbert fail. And then all of a sudden he just jumps on his case. He just jumps down his throat. You know, he just has these long takes on criticizing Justin Herbert, pretty much regurgitating the same stuff he's always been saying. And it's just like, I'm like, bro, I thought you just said like 2 months ago that Justin Herbert has elevated his game to a game that he's never had before. And it was obvious why he wasn't able to play well against the New England Patriots in the playoffs. It was obvious why. First off, New England's defense is brutal. They pretty much has been making everybody look bad in the playoffs. And two, you saw how trash the play calling was during the game. So what like and I see that he like nitpicking. He's like nitpicking like plays, like cherry picking certain plays that Justin Herbert messed up on, and then just using that as his huge narrative to criticize Justin Herbert. That's what irritates me about. And it's like if you're going to criticize players, that's fine. Criticize them. You know, I'm not going to get mad about that. But don't cherry pick stuff and then be biased. You know what I'm saying? And have your takes be an obvious biased take on these guys. That's what pisses me off. And especially with players like Justin Herbert, because like I said, I see how great of a quarterback he is. But I also see how he has to do so much to overcome so much adversity, even with Jim Harbaugh being his head coach, for him to just to look upright, just for him just to look, you know, competent as being a quarterback. Like he's still a young quarterback. Yeah, he's in his 6th year in the NFL, but he's still figuring it out. And we praise guys like Patrick Mahomes. We praise guys like Josh Allen. We praise guys like Joe Burrow. But outside of Patrick Mahomes, none of those guys has won anything. Joe Burrow hasn't even been in the playoffs in the past 3 years. Now, if I hear Emmanuel Acho criticizing those guys, then okay, then I get it. I mean, I want to see, because I like, to be honest with you, I like a lot of Emmanuel Acho's takes. Like I praised Emmanuel Acho. I will say, like, you know, I think he really, like his channel, you know, Speakeasy, he does knows his stuff. He knows the game. I like his takes. I really do. But I hate when I hear him talk about Herbert. And it has nothing really to do with me being a Chargers fan. It really doesn't, because I was heavily, be honest with you, how Acho was talking about Herbert is how I was on Phillip Rivers. Like I've seen Phillip Rivers throw games away. And I've seen Phillip Rivers throw games away with elite teams, you know. And so, you know, you can't, I can't give excuses for Phillip Rivers. You have a not top 5 running back in the league. You have a top 5 running back, arguably of all time, and you got an arguably top tight end of all time, and then you got a great defense. You know, it's just Phillip Rivers has had elite teams around him. There should have been no reason why Phillip Rivers should have not at least went to the Super Bowl, you know. But Herbert is still, he's still young, and guys like Peyton Manning hasn't had successful playoffs runs until like later on in their career. Drew Brees only had 1 Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers only had 1 Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? I mean, a lot of those quarterbacks hasn't really had all that much success in the playoffs. So, but here we are. We want to like jump down Justin Herbert's throat and criticize him, act like he's like he's a bust, or he's a washed up, or not, or like he's just a choker. And that's not even the case. It's really not, you know. And a lot of you guys are going to eat your words, and that's why I'm saying a lot of you guys are doing is dumb. It's really stupid, because Herbert probably has at least another decade under, like, for him to play under his belt. Matthew Stafford, everybody is dick riding Matthew Stafford right now. Matthew Stafford didn't have successful playoff run until he got to the Rams, until he got Sean McVay, until he got into a better situation. So Herbert is not even 30 yet. But here we are. We want to like act like he's never going to win a playoff game. Like we're like, that's the dumbest thing ever. We're acting like this dude is never going to win a playoff game. First off, look at the organization that he's in. The Chargers organization is historically a bad organization, historically known for not winning anything, historically known for just giving up stuff. You know, just giving up games. That's what the Chargers organization has. We have had 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Phillip Rivers more likely is going to be a Hall of Famer, you know, prior to Justin Herbert, and they have won absolutely nothing. Dan Fouts and Phillip Rivers won absolutely nothing. You know, and so that's what frustrates me. That's what infuriates me about, you know, a lot of the people, the media, knocking Herbert, disrespecting Herbert, you know, calling him a choker. I want to ride with Herbert until he retires because I believe in him. I honestly believe he is the best quarterback in the entire NFL. And I've been saying it. Let Herbert play under Andy Reid. He will do more than what Patrick Mahomes is doing. And people love praising Josh Allen, and I hardly hear any criticism by Josh Allen, but this dude has constantly give up games over and over and over again in the playoffs. He's great in the wild card game, but then after the next week, he's sorry. He sucks. He sucks in the divisional rounds. Josh Allen is completely trash in the divisional rounds, and he always turns the ball over. He causes it up. He does it all the time. But I hardly hear anybody criticizing Josh Allen. And to be honest with you, Josh Allen was completely trash prior to Stephon Diggs, and he was trash prior to Brian Dable. But people don't talk about that. They still say he's the greatest quarterback in the world. How is he the greatest player of the world? And this dude has not even went to the Super Bowl. How is that even the case? How? That's what I'm saying. That's what frustrates me. They give up. They blaming the offensive linemen or wide receivers for him turning the ball over 4 times. He turned the ball over 4 times. 4 times. And it had nothing to do with defense. It just had everything to do with him being careless of the football. I don't think Justin Herbert turned the ball over that much against New England. And New England was brutal. New England's defense was physical, was intense. He faced 2 dominant, intense, physical, violent defenses in the playoffs the past 2 years with a terrible O-line. They say, and Nick Wright's dumbass want to say, he had a great offensive line when he played against the Texans. No, he did not. That O-line was questionable the whole entire year. You had only Slater and you have only Joe Watt. Do you not know that Slater and Joe Watt do not make up a whole damn offensive line? You got interior O-line too, dummy. Like, that's what I'm saying. And you going into Texas, the Texas is a violent defense. Of course, you're going to bust through the middle. And if you saw, was you not watching the game when he was getting annihilated? He was getting his head blown off. It's the same thing with the Patriots. He nearly got hurt against New England. And Greg Roman, thank God he got fired. Greg Roman wanted to keep running with him. I mean, and he was pretty much programming that in Justin Herbert's line, I guess. And Justin Herbert was missing wide open guys down the field. That's Justin Herbert's fault. Yes, that is Justin Herbert's fault. He shouldn't have been missing wide open guys down the field. But football is situational. You have to look at it as like, why is Justin Herbert missing wide open wide receivers down the field? Why is that the case? Why is he like just taking the ball and running away with it? He doesn't normally do that. He doesn't. Like, Justin Herbert was always a pass first quarterback, but I believe Greg Roman was drilling in him to run the ball more than the passing, because that's what Justin Herbert was doing all year. Like, I get what Greg Roman was trying to do, but Greg Roman is just a bad coach. I don't think he really was coaching Justin Herbert right to look at your check downs, to give him check down players, to look at, to look down the field, to scan the field. And then you take it away and run it. When in situation, he wasn't really coaching to be a situational quarterback, I don't think. Because it's obviously he wasn't. Like, you got him running like a freaking running back in the freaking red zone. And then he's getting tackled by, I forget the safety's name for New England. It was just dumb stuff like that. We could have won that game. We should have won that game. We had 3 trips down in the red zone, and we did not score not one single point. And this is on Jim Harbaugh for kicking the field, for going for it on 4th down. Now, don't get me wrong. Justin Herbert definitely does deserve something to blame. He does. He's a veteran quarterback. He's a very intelligent quarterback. I think that Justin Herbert should be at the point now where he can be calling his own plays, doing his own plays. I think that he's at that point, and that's something I want to do research on. It's just like, why are some of these quarterbacks really not in the position to call the wrong plays? I don't understand that, but we'll figure that out. I'll find that out. I'll do my research. But I'll say this, though. Mike McDaniel is going to solve all those problems. He's going to solve all the problems of Justin Herbert. Now, and I will say this. If Justin Herbert can't get it done with Mike McDaniel, it's going to be bad. It's going to be very, very bad on Justin Herbert. And I can't keep defending him if he can't get it done with Mike McDaniel. And I will say this. But that doesn't mean that it's over for him. That doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that at all. He's still like in his fairly young years. Mahomes, I think Mahomes is probably like what in his 18th year. Mahomes has 3 rings. Lamar Jackson has no rings. Lamar Jackson's playoff seasons playoff career is almost just as bad as Herbert. Josh Allen, he hasn't done anything. Joe Burrow went to 1 Super Bowl. That might be the only Super Bowl that Joe Burrow may ever go to. Aaron Rodgers only went to 1 Super Bowl. We have been waiting for years for Aaron Rodgers to go back, and it's never happened. Same for Drew Brees. Drew Brees only went to 1 Super Bowl. We were waiting for years for Drew Brees to go back, and it's never happened for Drew Brees. So it happens. It's hard. It's hard to go back. So Justin Herbert, something when it might click for Herbert, it might click for him, and then it's going to be all hell, and then he's going to be looking like Peyton Manning and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, because he's doing everything right. He just has to get over that hump, and he's still young, and I think it's the best thing for him because for a lot of these guys, they have a lot of success early on in their career. They don't never come back. They don't never go back to the bowl. They don't never go back to the Super Bowl. Tom Brady is the only guy that has done that. So I think Justin Herbert is in the perfect situation. I really do. Now he definitely is. So I'm looking forward to seeing. I cannot wait till September. I can't wait until we see Mike McDaniel, what he's going to do with Herbert. I can't wait to see what Mike McDaniel's going to do with Amari Hampton. If Najee Harris comes back and Vidal, I'm curious to see how Johnson is going to evolve in this offense. I'm curious to see about Trey Harris, KLS, Ladd. KLS and Ladd are burners. I'm so curious to see that. I'm curious to see if we're going to keep Keenan Allen. We got Aronde Gadsden. Then you talking about Matlock. You talking about that big fullback. Then you got to talk about what Joel and then Rashawn Slater coming back, and maybe we keep Mekhi Becton. Mekhi Becton had a terrible year last year, but maybe we can keep him for some depth. I think we should for some depth, especially in Mike McDaniel's offense. Yeah, I don't think we should let Mekhi Becton go. I think we should just keep beefing up that O-line. I think we should go get some players in the draft. I think we should probably, get the best player available in the draft. LA, I don't care if it's a running back, get another running back. I don't care. Get the best player in the draft, man. If you can't get a really, really elite offensive lineman, get the best player in the draft. Beef up, go deep into the free agency. I would like to see Hill. I would like to see Hill with LA. I know a lot of people has written Tyreek Hill off. I don't know why. He's had a bad year last year, but he got hurt. He was playing okay early in the season, and prior to that, he was playing really well. I think he had like almost an MVP season. Was it 2 years ago? So Hill will be fine, man. I would like to see Tyreek Hill in LA. I would like to see Tyreek Hill with Justin Herbert. I think Tyreek Hill still got them burners, So, and then he's very familiar with Mike McDaniel, and you definitely got to see like if he wants to come back to the AFC West and show out and see his former team twice a year. That got to be taken into consideration too. I know I was seeing some reports on Tyreek Hill saying he wants to go back home. I think Tyreek Hill's from Georgia, so he was saying he wants to play in Atlanta. If he wants to do that, he can do that. I don't know. That'd be scary, with Atlanta, him in Atlanta. It would be very scary. I would like to see what Kevin Stefanski might do with that, but but I think the Chargers should go after Hill. Hill was already flirting with the idea of him coming to LA. He was flirting with that idea last year. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what the Chargers' next move is going to be. I like what Joe Ortiz is doing. I like what Jim Harbaugh is doing. I do. I'm excited. And this is going to be fun, man. This is going to be fun for LA. I was very pissed off with the Chargers the past couple of weeks. I was really pissed off. The playoffs really hurt me really bad when we lost. I just wanted to see Herbert just get a playoff win. And next year, I think they're going to get more than a playoff win next year because we have the talent. Herbert has the talent. And I know Herbert wants it more than anybody, and just everybody kind of just letting him down. I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to keep fighting for him till the cows come home. I really am. And that's all I got to say, man. So let me see, like, what's other news in the NFL about? Like, let's see what we got. But I mean, I know I was getting on Joe Ortiz, saying Joe Ortiz needs to do his like I was saying Joe Ortiz needs to do his fucking job, and he did. He did. So I mean, I like Joe Ortiz. I really do, and I think he's actually doing a remarkable job as a GM. But I had to put some emphasis on that because I just did not want to see Greg Roman still with the Chargers, and us just sitting on our hands and not doing anything. I've just seen that too many times with the Chargers doing that as a Charger fan, and it's just been so infuriating to me. And I don't want to see us waste Justin Herbert's career. It's not fair to him. It's not fair to him. And and I don't like I just hate that the media is just beating down on this dude, and because I feel like he can really, I honestly do feel like he can go down as the greatest quarterback of all time. I really do feel like that. I see him doing everything he possibly can, and when stuff doesn't go right, and the Chargers loses a game, the entire media jumps down his throat. So we're gonna see, man. Let's see what we got. Let's see. Okay, so there's some news right here. Y'all heard about this? The Packers releasing Trayvon Diggs. That's crazy. So like they sign him, then they release him. It's curious to see where he's going to end up. I wouldn't mind Trayvon with LA. We need some cornerback depth, you know. I wouldn't mind seeing him with with Tarheeb Still, Cam Hart, Dante Jackson. He's a ball hog. I would like to see him. I wouldn't mind seeing him in LA, especially if we keep Jesse Minter. I think he can really light it up with Jesse Minter. Jesse Minter definitely does puts his defensive backs, the secondary, in a position to really make plays, and Trayvon is a ball hawk, so that'd be kind of cool. So let's move on. Jared Stidham was his first career start. He was 23 of 34 for 365 yards and 3 touchdowns. Well, I know when he was first. I know when he was first drafted. Some guys, some people, some coaches was pretty high.
For the touchdown. About Johnson back there. Play action and Stidham on the roll. Finds his tight end, Foster Moreau, and Moreau. Play action. Stidham on the roll. Floating it for the end zone. Touchdown. Darren Waller gets the Raiders on the board. 24 yards. First down and 10 at the 36. Off the play fake. Stidham with time. Open Devontae Adams. And Adams dancing. Stidham off the play fake. Pressure coming. Stidham throws. Oh, but going up to get it. Stidham floats it. Back corner for Adams. He pulls it in and gets his feet in. Touchdown, Las Vegas. Just a four-man rush.
Well, it's going to be interesting. I mean, if Sean Payton could pull this off against New England with Stidham, if he can come out looking like that against New England gonna have their work cut out for him. New England better not be sleeping on it. They better not be. Yeah, we already talked about John Harbaugh signing with the Giants. 8 years ago, Nick Foles threw for 352 yards in the NFC Championship, advanced the Eagles to the Super Bowl. We don't need to talk about that. Nick Foles is irrelevant right now. Okay, let's see if there's any other news. Let's see. And we already talked about Mike McDaniel signing with the Chargers. Let's see what John. Let's see. Yeah, I think we already talked about the Bills firing their head coach. So the Packers are interviewing Arizona Cardinals head coach Jonathan Gannon for the defensive coordinator job. Okay. And then let's see. The Falcons interviewed Arizona Cardinals passing game coordinator and wide receivers coach Drew Terrell for their offensive coordinator job today. He was with the Chargers for offensive coordinator yesterday and Commanders previously. So it's obviously not signing with the Chargers, but he might go to the Falcons. Okay. Let's see here. Brian Flores interviewed for an in-person interview with the Minnesota Vikings defense coordinator Brian. The Steelers interviewed Minnesota Vikings defensive coordinator Brian Flores for their head coach position. That'd be a good fit for Brian Flores, for real, with the Steelers. That would be a good fit for him. I think that'll be solid. That wouldn't be bad. The Buccaneers are hiring veteran special teams coordinator Danny Smith. Sources tell so he's 50 years into his coaching career. Smith is still going and still considered one of the best in the business. So he's going to Tampa Bay. Wow. Wow. It's gonna be interesting seeing him not with the Pittsburgh Steelers anymore. Like I like seeing him in Pittsburgh with him under Mike Tomlin. Yeah, Pittsburgh is breaking it up. All right. All right, let's see. So they said this is interesting because they said that the Bucks and the Eagles both pursued Mike McDaniel as their top offensive target. The Bucks were especially diligent in their courtship, and McDaniel was very engaged with them throughout. Ultimately, alerted getting back to California and coaching Justin Herbert proved strongest. Yeah, I heard about that. Mike McDaniel was interested in Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay pretty much was saying to Mike McDaniel that if you do very well, you can end up becoming the head coach. And their head coach, I can't remember the head coach's name, but that kind of got me scared. And then he also had interviews for. He told the Browns that he wasn't interested in them, which I can understand that. And then what he looked, I think it was the Ravens. To be honest, with the fact that he didn't take those jobs, that says a lot about Justin Herbert. I think people knows the talent of Justin Herbert, and they're looking at Justin Herbert and they're like, I think they're thinking like with Jim Harbaugh. I feel like they're thinking, this guy, if I can give this guy what he needs, he can become probably the greatest quarterback of all time. Because Justin Herbert has all the tools. He has the I mean, like, bro, Jalen Hurts had he had one of the best situations. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I can't stand when these analysts do that. Like, they do these biased, generic, vague take. Player is not cool. I think it's very irresponsible and it's very incredible because like, are you actually watching these games? And if you are watching these games, you're not being honest. You're trying to get clicks. You're trying to because I also feel like too, people like some of these guys who hates on Justin Herbert, they were already criticizing him when he came out of college. So they have to keep riding with that horse. They have to keep riding with that wave and die on that hill alone because they don't want to be looked at as being wrong. And and so if Justin Herbert does somehow happen to be, a not a quarterback that his fans may think that he is, they're going to be like, "Oh, see, I told you, I was proven right." And so that kind of boosts their ego and makes them look like they're credible. And so that's why I feel like they just keep pushing this narrative on Herbert being a choker. He's not showing up in good games, and it's just annoying because I watched Ancho when he said that because first he said that Herbert has elevated his game in the beginning of the season. He said Herbert has elevated his game like he has never ever done in his entire career. And then at the end of the season, after the Chargers lost their playoff game, he says that Herbert has not only not played well in playoff games, he hasn't played well in any big meaningful game. So that was a huge contradictory right there because it's okay. So how does he elevate his game like he's never has before this season? And then you go right back and say he's never played well in big playoff games. I mean, in any big games. So that's what just irritates me about people like Acho, man. I was trying to give Acho his credit and him being a great analyst, but when you do bias takes and unfair takes on players, it discredits you. But anyway, I think that Mike McDaniel sees something in Herbert, and this is why he decided to go to LA because he had some options. He had Lamar. He could have went to Lamar Jackson. He could have went to Josh Allen, and he could have went to Jalen Hurts. But Jalen Hurts is nowhere near on Josh Allen's and Lamar Jackson's level. But he had a Super Bowl winning quarterback, and then he had two elite quarterbacks, arguably the best quarterbacks in the game, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. But he decided to go to LA. And I think that's sick. And it's the same way with Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh said the reason why he went to LA because it was Justin Herbert. And I think it's the same exact reason why Mike McDaniel is going to LA because he's like, it's Justin Herbert. I honestly feel like these coaches feel like Justin Herbert has the best talent in the world than any of these other quarterbacks. And I feel like they're like, I can help show that on the field. We can actually win something. We can actually get a Lombardi. I honestly feel like Mike McDaniel, Jim Harbaugh feel like they can get a Lombardi if they do the right things for Herbert. It shows. It shows. It's especially a huge fat slap to Justin and Jalen Hurts' face because Mike McDaniel, honestly, I think the reason why with Mike McDaniel is like not that he doesn't feel like he can win a Lombardi, but it's just like Jalen Hurts is just not an ideal type of quarterback for me. For my system, he cannot do certain things. He's limited. His physical traits is limited, and the type of offense that I want to call, I don't want Jalen Hurts being my quarterback. This is going to be exciting, man. I'm so excited. I can't wait till September gets here. Man, it's going to be fun. It is going to be fun to see Mike McDaniel and with the coach of the Chargers, man. I mean, I feel like he's a pimped out Jim Harbaugh, or he's like a young type of, I don't know. Him and Jim Harbaugh seems like the same type of person to me. They're just like night and day. I get you say, they remind me of so much of each other. They're both quirky. They both say weird stuff. They are going to be a dynamic duo, him and Harbaugh. They really are because they got some personalities, and you got Justin Herbert right there, man. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun seeing this. It's going to be so entertaining. Harbaugh and Mike McDaniel. And if I were Jesse Manor, I would stay in LA for another year. If you can't get the Browns job, if you can't get the Ravens job, I guess the Pittsburgh Steelers job or the Bills job, if you can't get any of those jobs, man, Jesse Manor, he needs to stay because it's not you bro, like where else you gonna go if you can't get any of those jobs? I mean, and to be honest with you, I don't really think him going to the Bills will be a good fit for him, Jesse Minter. I don't think Jesse Minter going to Steelers could be a good fit for Jesse Minter. That's stability. If you can't get this, if you can't get the Steelers or the Ravens, you need to keep your ass in LA. I know TJ Houshmandzadeh, he said that I think TJ Houshmandzadeh said, yeah, that's what I can see Minter in Baltimore, Pittsburgh. If neither of those, then I think he stays. Yeah, same here. That's exactly what I was just saying. I think TJ Houshmandzadeh, if I'm not mistaken, I think he was saying that if he can't get the Browns or the Ravens, he should stay. But I don't think the Browns would be a good. I don't want to be a good fit for Minter. But yeah, Baltimore or Pittsburgh are definitely ideal spots for Minter. And if he can't get that, he needs to stay in LA. It will be like it will be dumb for him not to stay in LA, bro. Like this is from top to bottom. If Minter stays, we got the best coaching staff in the entire league. Period. And there should be no reason why we can't at least go to the AFC Championship this year. There should be no reason. And I think this is it. This is the year. I think Herbert is going to give it his all. And that's another thing too. These guys are dialed in. They're dialed in. They are going to give it their all, because now that you got a coach, Mike McDaniel, where guys respect, the entire league respects him. And the entire league respects him as an offensive coordinator. All these offensive players are going to be like, we're like, yo, what's next? We're ready. Some of them are probably like, screw the vacation. I'm ready to work right now. It's pretty much like whatever Mike McDaniel wants, I'm going to do it on the offensive side of the ball. And then you got Jim Harbaugh right behind him. I mean, bro, this team is going to be dialed in, and they're going to give it their all. And they're not going to. It's not going to be any games, going to next year. It's not. September can't get here any fast enough. So yeah, Linderbaum. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right. Linderbaum at center, pick up a guard in the draft. Scott, the guy from I think he's from the Ravens, right? That's center from the Ravens. That'd be definitely a great pickup. I think Ortiz sees him. I know Ortiz got him on his radar. He's on Ortiz's radar. I can see that. Definitely. And I think we should keep Mekhi. I know a lot of people are thinking that Mekhi should walk, but I think we should keep him. I blame Mekhi's struggles a lot on Greg Roman. I really do. I blame the entire offensive struggle on Greg Roman. And just keeping Mekhi just gives us more depth. Mekhi, he had some good games. I think Mekhi's problem was he was just injured a lot this year. So I think we should bring back Mekhi. I think we should bring back Najee, because Najee was playing really well until he got hurt. So I would like to see that three-headed monster. I mean, we can Najee, Kamani, Vidal, Amarion, so that would be kind of solid. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So that would be awesome. I think they will be Brad Najee. We didn't really get a chance to really get a good fit, to really experiment that. But like I said, those runs that he was doing when he was getting the ball, he was toting that joke. He was toting it. So, I think Najee definitely wants to come back with some vengeance. It will be, yeah. And this draft is not really that talented, but I think the Chargers, they have been drafting pretty well this year. They have been drafting pretty well since Ortiz been our general manager. Do I think the tight end is a need at all? I kind of like the tight end. Yeah, I like the tight end too. I like the tight end from Oregon, Sadiq. I have to take a look at him. Do you think he'll be better than Arande? I would like to, because Arande Gatson, he was pretty good this year. Arande, he did make some key mistakes, but he was a rookie. But having two really good tight ends is that's definitely Jim Harbaugh's freaking recipe right there, having two really good tight ends. So if that tight end from Oregon is a beast, I mean, if he's even better than Arande, I wouldn't mind us drafting him. Oh yeah. Oh, if he's a blue chip player, then hell yeah. Oh yeah, why not? If he's the best player available on that board, like I was saying before, like I don't care if the best player available on the board is a running back. If that running back is a blue chip player, get him. I know we got Amarion. It's whatever. I'm a big believer in drafting the best player available. Like Get what you need in free agency. Go into free agency, get what you need in free agency. That way, when the draft comes, you just stack up. You just get the best. Just stack your team with great players, with guys that can play. Great football players. He's the first player from my hometown to go to the NFL, so I'm really hoping we get him. Also, think a second two-headed monster. I agree with you. Two-headed monster will elevate her. Yes, 100%. 100%. I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you. Especially that's what Jim Harbaugh likes. To a two-headed monster at tight end. I mean, look, that's what Brady had most of his career. Gronk, before Aaron Hernandez got into trouble, that helps. It definitely helps, and it takes a lot of the stress and a lot of responsibility off the quarterback. And that's the thing that people don't get with Justin Herbert. It's like he gets to the playoffs and they see him lose and they see him make mistakes, and they magnify his mistakes, and they're not really looking at the game beyond what they're actually seeing. They're just looking at it with a critical eye. And that's what really pisses me off about the Herbert critics and the media. It's like I'm not protecting Herbert because he's a Charger. Like I said before, I was heavily critical of Phillip Rivers, but that's because Phillip Rivers had everything for him. Phillip Rivers was surrounded by Hall of Fame talent, and he still couldn't get it done. That's not the same case with Herbert. Like all these guys who goes deep in the playoffs, who wins in the playoffs, they have been put in better situations. Like Joe Burrow, people like to talk about Joe Burrow, like, oh, well, Joe Burrow went to the Super Bowl with a bad O-line. But yeah, he has a freaking brilliant offensive coach who schemes up some stuff. So when you scheme up some stuff, you really don't really need that great of an offensive line when you got freaking Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. I mean, and then he also had a pretty good reliable running game. So that was Joe Burrow's situation. Okay, so we can't just say like, oh, Joe Burrow had a great offensive line. It was no that again, you scheme up some stuff, you can go deep, and this is the thing with Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel's gonna be able to scheme up some stuff. That offensive line is not gonna look as horrendous as it used to do in Justin Herbert's career. And Patrick Mahomes, he got Andy Reid calling plays for him in the past. I mean, if people don't, if you really pay attention, the past couple of Super Bowls that he's won. Great defense. He had a reliable running game. He's had Kelsey. Kelsey has fell off, but he had Kelsey, and in his earlier years when he was winning the Super Bowl, he had Hill. He's good. He was in a good situation. There was nothing really going wrong for him. When stuff was going wrong for Patrick Mahomes was looking like trash. He was looking bad. And he was looking very bad against the Eagles. Same situation that he was in with Herbert. But he still had a great offensive play caller. He still had Andy Reid. So that's what I'm saying. But nobody's not going to really knock Patrick Mahomes and get on Patrick Mahomes because, he got a couple of Lombardis. But he got a couple of Lombardis because he was in better situations. Football is situational, bro. And Josh Allen, like I was just talking earlier about how the media loves to freaking praise Josh Allen about everything. Like it was bright as day. The mistakes that Josh Allen made, that wasn't on Sean McDermott. That wasn't on the team. That was on Josh Allen. Josh Allen did not play a good game. But when they lost, whose fault was it? Who did the media say whose fault it was? They blamed the general manager. They said the general manager didn't give him enough help. And they also said that the team was not good enough. He didn't have enough good enough. That's why he lost. No. He lost because he does what he always does. He turns the ball over. He turns the ball over too freaking much, and he's always has. I mean, I thought Stephon Diggs was holding Josh Allen back. That's what they said. They got rid of Stephon Diggs. Josh Allen got an MVP. He still doesn't go to the Super Bowl, at least. The following year, he's not playing all that great. He gets booted out the second round of the playoffs. It's the team's fault. When is the media ever going to blame Josh Allen? They say that Justin Herbert gets all the excuses. I don't really hear anybody give Justin Herbert excuses. I just hear a bunch of people regurgitate that. That's all I hear. I'm the only person that gives reasonable, situations of why Justin Herbert is not producing well in the playoffs. You say Allen is elite in the regular season. just collapsed. Yeah, that's exactly it. Doesn't get any credit for anything. That's what I'm saying. But the media says he does, though. The media tries to say that Justin Herbert is he gets all like everybody gives him excuses. I don't hear anybody giving Herbert excuses at all. I never hear it. People just keep regurgitating that nonsense. That's what pisses me off about the media, man, is how they like really are knocking Herbert. Like they were hating on Herbert when he came out of college. So who is defending him? Who? Herbert doesn't get any credit for anything. Exactly, he doesn't. My point exactly. At least somebody has common sense. Thank God. It's I don't know, man. All I know is this is the best thing that happened for Herbert. Mike McDaniel. I think Mike McDaniel obviously feels the same way we're feeling, because if he didn't, he would not have signed with them. He obviously feels the same way what Jim Harbaugh feels. He has to. They have to have literally been like saying like the same exact thing about Justin Herbert and what me and you are saying right now. And Mike McDaniel, that's probably why he called the Browns and was like, "Yeah, I'm good. I don't want to. You guys are good. I'm not going for that interview." He didn't even go to the interview for the Eagles. He didn't go to the interview for the Bills or for the Ravens, or the Steelers or whatever. All the other interviews he had lined up. He was just like, "I'm good. I'm good here in LA." Because him and Jim Harbaugh saw the same vision. That had to be the reason why Mike McDaniel signed with the Chargers. And I feel like what Mike McDaniel should do, because I don't know how long Jim Harbaugh is going to be with the Chargers, but if I was Mike McDaniel, I would just stay in LA and I will be like Jim Harbaugh's successor. Like, when Jim Harbaugh leaves, I will learn as much as I can from Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh leaves, who's to say Mike McDaniel just cannot take over? Mike McDaniel is still very young. LA, he looked like he was having the time of his life in Miami. LA, I mean, it's not Miami, but it's almost no different. Stay in LA, bro. You can just take over when Jim Harbaugh leaves. That's what I would do if I'm Mike McDaniel, and you can go down as a really great coach, because if Mike McDaniel can go down as one of the greatest coaches of all time if he really does take in everything what Jim Harbaugh does and just integrate it into his offensive genius. Like, that will be, Mike McDaniel will be a dangerous coach. Like, the Chargers can be almost like the Chiefs 2.0 and that happens. So, yeah, inside people know what Jim and Herbert are building. Exactly. There's no excuse. It's just facts. Bro literally has zero line help. Would have had less. You know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to figure out what quarterback, and I said this in a couple of videos before. I gave people a challenge. I wanted to see what quarterback has ever went deep into the playoffs, or let alone went to the Super Bowl with no running back help, with no tight end help, and no O-line, and no reliable wide receiver. At least one of those. Justin Herbert doesn't really have a reliable wide receiver. He hasn't had a reliable running game in the playoffs. He hasn't had a reliable O-line in the playoffs. He hasn't had a reliable play caller in the playoffs. So, but he comes up short in the playoffs, it's all of his fault. And everybody's giving excuses for him. No, it's situational. Like, we're literally watching the game. Like, what's the reason why he's been coming up short? And so that's the thing, man. And so, but I just keep beating a dead horse. I just keep saying the same thing. I've been saying the same thing over and over and over again for years. But I'm going to keep doing it, until as long as the media keeps saying the same thing, knocking him, I'm going to keep saying the same thing. Hopefully when this channel blows up, it comes across, and so, to really expose them, especially when Justin Herbert does win something, because it's not a doubt in my mind that Justin Herbert is not going to at least get a couple of. I think Justin Herbert can get at least 3 Super Bowl rings. I think he can. I honestly feel like he can. So, and that's this remains to be said. I'm looking forward to it. I think this is the year where that can actually happen. Herbert getting a Lombardi, and then everybody is going to be freaking acting like they knew, So we'll see, man. We'll definitely see. I really appreciate you, man, for chiming in, for real. Let's see. But like I said before, I'm going to be on this. I'm going to be on this every night. Talk football, talk college football, talk NFL. It really is too. AFC is wide open. Yeah, definitely is. I mean, especially if you just maybe reminded me, especially if I talked about this last night, especially if the Raiders, well, Cincinnati said he's not going to the NFL, so that's out. I would have liked to have that would have been interesting to see Cincinnati in Mendoza and the Raiders. That would have been very interesting. But the Raiders can still get that quarterback from Indy, Mendoza. That'll be interesting. But I did a little draft. I did a little mock draft last night. I was trying to think. Like, should the Raiders draft him or should they get somebody else? I was saying, yeah, found a gem on late night YouTube. Appreciate you. Thank you, man. I'm building this channel. I'm trying to, I'm trying to make this channel more better, more higher quality than what it is right now. But as far as I'm concerned, to stay consistent doing this, I'm doing this every night consistently. The channel will grow, the channel will get better, the quality of it will get better, the production, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But it starts with this being consistent, just coming on here every night, at least for like 30 minutes to an hour or whatever. So the more people that chimes in, the more people that talks and, say what they want, give their opinion on certain things, it makes the channel, it makes me talk about other things, you guys are the producers. Peak as hell. We'll try to watch the Chargers ones, trying to find more podcasts. Bet, yeah. This is definitely a podcast for the Chargers, but I talk about all of football, because I'm obsessed with football in general, but I am a diehard Chargers fan, so I do tend to talk about the Chargers more than anything. But I talk about football. I talk about all teams. Even like I said, I just started like last night. I just started talking about college as well. But the Chargers definitely is going to get more airtime than any other team. So, and Justin Herbert definitely going to get more airtime than any other player. So that's just going to be the reality of it. So, but yeah, but this unfortunately this draft, man. I mean, I gotta study the draft. I didn't really watch college football this past year. College football for the past couple of years, college football has definitely been. Yeah, are you going to go through the draft? Yes, I am. I tried doing that last year, and I'm doing to do that this year. I'm also gonna start treating this channel like I'm a scout too. Because one day, man, like I would like to be a GM one day if that's possible. I would definitely, and this channel can be a portfolio for that. But yeah, I'm definitely going to do that. I'll let you know when I start doing that. Start doing my research on mock drafts and everything. Unfortunately, like I was saying, I don't think really this draft class is really all that exciting. But you still want to look into it. I did a little mini mock draft last night. I went on. I forgot what website I went on, but I was just trying to see what teams, if I was the Chargers, who would I draft or whatever. And if I was the Raiders, if I was going to pass up on Mendoza or if I was going to draft a next available player. And then if I wanted to wait till next year to get a quarterback, because next year's quarterback class is going to look really good. So, with that quarterback coming out of Oregon, Archie Manning looking pretty good. So I was like, would I pass up on Mendoza? Maybe get another running back, get another offensive lineman or another linebacker, and just wait till next year. But I don't know. We'll see. I have to look at all the situation for that. But yeah, and I think the year before last year's draft class wasn't even all that. Last year's draft wasn't even all that. It was pretty underwhelming as well. So yeah, hopefully, but next year I think 2027 is going to be much more better draft. But I think that's all I got right now, man. I really appreciate you for freaking, chiming in and freaking Mendoza is the perfect quarterback for Vegas. Unfortunately, Raiders building something good. Good thing they're never going to do anything with it. Yeah, real talk. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Raiders building some. Yeah, they got Tom Brady, so Tom Brady is not going to be there and just let the Raiders just be like freaking laughing stock. They just got a lot of work to do. They got their work cut out for them. Yeah. And I like Mendoza's grit, man. I like his toughness, his tenacity, his physicality. He's definitely a physical player. He has a lot of heart. I mean, he's big. He's 6'5". I think he's like 6'5", 230. He's almost the size of Justin Herbert. I mean, he looks like a Raider. He looks like a Raider. He definitely would be a perfect fit for the Raider. You got him, Genty, Bowers. I mean, maybe he would be. I mean, maybe they should just go ahead and pick him up next. And if he doesn't work out, got a deep quarterback class next year. You know, I heard Jared McCoy saying that if the Raiders, if they miss on Mendoza, it's going to be really bad for the Raiders. But my thing is that I don't really believe that because the Raiders are already a trash organization. So if they miss on Mendoza, it's not going to be the end of the world. It's just going to be the same thing. So they swing for the fences next year. So, I mean, the Raiders will be fine though. They got talent there. They got Crosby. If Crosby stays, I know there was some talk about Crosby might leave, but I don't think he's leaving the Raiders. I don't think the Raiders is letting him out that building. So, but yeah, thank you so much for freaking, participating with this channel. It definitely helps. And we'll be back tomorrow. I'm gonna look up some news to do tomorrow, and maybe I don't know if there's gonna be some college football news or whatever, but I'll do some research, see what up. So we're gonna talk about tomorrow. And I thank you all so much for watching. We're gonna be back soon, and tomorrow all day. Deuces.